The government is acting like a middleman between citizens and businesses. Here are just a few of the examples. On page 45, try this out for size. All of California's housing standards, California, you know, the one that's on fire all the time, that one. All of those standards must be imposed on every American community. On page 92, we have to make sure now that buildings have a place to plug in your electric hybrid vehicle, which I've been looking for a place to plug in my hybrid vehicle. On page 112, additional credit for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac housing goals for energy efficient and location efficient mortgages. There are even establishment of something called green banking centers. I wish I could tell you what a green banking center is, but I have no idea. We're also going to require that every car sold in America now has an engine capable of operating on alternative fuel. So that way we can pay our farmers to grow corn that we won't eat. We'll just burn up in our gas tanks. Won't that be swell? Oh, and it's not going to be a problem given that we now own General Motors. Though it very may well be a problem for General Motors and their bottom line. Which is your bottom line? I forgot about that. If all of these additions snuck under the cover of darkness weren't bad enough, there are two more inconveniently overlooked fun-filled facts. First, a 98-page EPA study on climate change, which shows now that global temperatures are going to decline until 2030. They say now this has been suppressed. No. The White House came out today and said, suppressed? Don't be ridiculous. It would have been suppressed. Yeah. It's just like Ben Bernanke. He never threatened the Bank of America into buying Merrill Lynch. That didn't happen. Or Chrysler, their bondholders, they really wanted that deal with Fiat. And, of course, Rick Wagner, he really wanted to step down from General Motors. And Barack Obama, he had no desire to take over the automotive industry. None whatsoever. The second thing that comes to mind is maybe we could have learned our lesson by looking at the countries that we're trying now to emulate as they're running in the other direction. Take Germany. Everybody says, oh, that Germans, yeah, they have strudel and beer and cap and trade. It's working over there. Really, has it? Germany has been able to cut emissions by 18.4% below 1990 levels. Woohoo! That's meeting the benchmark used by the Kyoto Protocol and in Europe. Except a pesky little inconvenient fact. The Washington Post says that half of the decrease was due to sagging industrial output in the former East Germany. Wait a minute, wasn't that socialist? How's that working out? After reunification. The downside, you're going to love this, German homeowners pay 25% more now for electricity than they did before they had the cap and trade thing, even though their utility companies earning record profits. When your personal liberty and our national sovereignty is being stole out from underneath our noses, it kind of pays for everybody to be just a little extra vigilant. Things in this country are happening and changing at light speed. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why is this happening? And who stands to benefit from cap and trade? Why do we need to do it right now at the bottom of our economy? What does a green banking center even mean? And what does it have to do with cooling the earth that apparently is getting cooler until 2030? And most importantly, is there still a chance to stop the insanity in our Senate? Or will the politicians there just simply wait for the next celebrity death before once again convening in the middle of the night to sell America out to the highest bidder? But first, let's go to Steve Malloy. He's the author of Green Hell. Steve.
Hey, Glenn.
All I can think of is nobody is noticing that this is a massive power grab by the federal government.
Yeah, I'm completely amazed. I mean, even conservative media has really dropped the ball in favor of Michael Jackson coverage. This is the most significant piece of legislation that will happen in our lifetimes. This completely rewrites the American dream, the American standard of living, is all bad for most of America. And unless people wake up and stop this in the Senate, we are all going to be in for a world of hurt.
Okay, let's just go through some of this. Right now, we're having a housing crisis. America, just think this one through. And this is why you have to ask yourself, why is this happening? We're in the middle of a housing crisis. Everybody is saying, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We got to sell these houses. We got to get mortgages moving. We got to get everybody buying and selling again. And yet, in this bill, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, you now, before you have to sell your house or can sell your house, you need to have a federal agency come in and inspect it to make sure it's energy efficient enough. And if it's not, you need to put the money in it before you can sell it.
Right. They're going to come in your home. They're going to look at your windows, your doors, your appliances, your water heater, your insulation, and give you a rating. And based on that rating, we're going to find out how hard it is to sell homes. Don't forget that they're also going to federalize building codes. And the way they're going to do that is that if local communities want federal money, they're going to have to, their building codes are going to have to conform to the federal government's. So the whole process is just becoming...
Which is conforming to California, the one that's collapsing.
Right.
It's conforming to the standards of California that they can't afford. I mean,
that's right.
I swear to you, Steve, I don't think I could design, if I were an enemy of our country, I don't think I could design a better way to collapse this country than what we've done in the last 6 months. Really, the last 8.
Right,
I got to jump on the George Bush bandwagon as well. The last 8, well, no, what the hell? The last 4 years. It started a long time ago, but the last 8 months have been insane.
Oh, yeah, there's no question about that. And I think it's all, it's all part of the plan. I mean, they have just shoved so much on Republican lawmakers that they just can't digest it all. And this last insult that you brought up, how this 300-page amendment was dropped on Republicans at 3 a.m. in the morning, Joe Barton was on the floor during the debate trying to get a copy, and the Democrats wouldn't give him one. And so in the end, everyone voted on something they hadn't seen.
Well, tell me about water rationing that's in this bill. I mean,
right. Well, the federal government is.
You're laughing. Is it because you just otherwise you hang yourself?
You can't. I'll look bad crying, I guess. Yeah. The federal government is going to incentivize manufacturers of water-saving devices so that if you sell a device that, say, turns off after 3 minutes in the shower, the federal government is going to subsidize your sales of those. And there's one of these things called the Shower Manager on the internet right now. And, on their website, they advertise it as the shower Nazi. And this is what America is in for with this, with cap and trade and this whole Waxman-Markey bill. This is all about controlling every part of our life, even taking a shower.
We have to reduce our use on coal and fossil fuels by 20%. What happens if we can, because there's no way we're going to... Really, we're gonna replace 20% with wind. They're not gonna allow us to have nuclear. With nukes, we could do it, but with wind and solar, we're gonna have to reduce it. What happens if we don't hit that?
Well, this is more than a cap on greenhouse gas emissions. This is really a cap on energy production, because if you have to have 20% of your electricity generated by wind and solar, well, that means that only 80% can be generated by coal and nuclear and natural gas. Well, what if we need more energy than that? And what if solar and wind can't produce it? Then we're kind of in an energy box, and then you get energy rationing.